In my recent reviews, I have praised Kia for being a great manufacturer who offers comfortable, luxurious, and stylish cars, but still at an affordable price. Well, today I'm here with this 2021 Kia Seltos midsize SUV, and we're going to be discussing whether this car lives up to my expectations from Kia. We're going to walk around the exterior and the interior, as well as talking about the powertrain and discussing all the different features and options available with this new Seltos, as well as the new technology Kia has given it for 2021. This is a brand new model in Kia's lineup, and I can't wait to show you all around it in this full in-depth review. So let's get right into it. And we're going to begin today's review here on the exterior of the 2021 Seltos. It's a very uniquely styled car. It's got some aggressive features, some rugged off-roading elements, and altogether a new kind of design language for Kia, although it does still feature a lot of classic Kia design elements. For example, up here at the front end of the car, we're going to begin things, it has the iconic Kia Tiger Nose grille. Now, this is going to help with the design of the car. It's going to really set off the styling and mark this car off as a unique Kia product. Every car they produce today has a grille just like that or similar to that, and that's going to mark the brand off with its unique styling at the front end of the car. Now, a few things they've added to this grille include a ton of silver plastic and chrome outlines around it that are really going to highlight the front end. And it's also going to highlight these LED daytime running lamps. Now, LED headlights are standard in all the Seltos models except for that base LX model. This model here is the EX, so of course it has them, and they're actually split into a few different zones. We've got kind of the headlamps down here, the daytime running lamps up here. Personally, I think it's split up a little bit too much. It makes the front end of the car look very, very jagged, and I'm not necessarily a fan of jagged. But that being said, it is a cool element that they offer LEDs on the Seltos, and it really does create a unique look for the car. So we're gonna move along to the side of the car now, where we've got a few other cool things I'd like to discuss. For example, these wheels. Now, Kia offers a variety of different wheel styles and sizes for the Seltos. I believe 17 or 18-inch wheels are offered with this model. But what's more important to me is that they're actually highlighted with this black plastic bumper guard. And this is gonna make the car actually pretty capable off-roading. It's going to protect the paint from rock chips and gravel and things like that, and add a really unique styling element to the side of this Seltos. You can also see the chrome badge here denoting the all-wheel drive that is featured on this model. We're going to discuss the drivetrain options in just a minute. Something else that's really cool and I actually love about the Seltos is that they offer a lot of different options for the roof of the car. It's actually two-tone in a lot of their models. So they offer a few different options where it can be all gloss black on the roof of the car. That's going to add a little bit of contrast. You can also have it be painted gloss white in some models, which is really going to stand out. Or you can just go plain Jane, like we see on this Seltos EX model, where it is just body colored and matched with the rest of the car. But things are going to wrap off in the rear of the car, where once again we've got LED taillights in all the models except for that base LX trim, as well as a few more chrome elements and the exhaust tips. Now, unfortunately, I have to point out those exhaust tips are fake. It's actually just a chrome trim piece, and I'm not sure exactly what they were trying to do with that there. It looks almost like fake exhaust tips, but it's kind of weird and disconnected in a way. And like I said, it makes the car look a little bit jagged on the exterior, which I guess does match the front end of this car, but I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the design language on the new Seltos, but that's all up to subjective interpretation. What's really important is that the exterior of the Seltos has a lot of really cool features and technologies that are offered on the different trim levels. Now, we are going to move to the interior and check out some of the cool features Kia put in the inside of the Seltos in just a minute, but first I figured we should pop the hood and take a look at the powertrain of this model, because Kia actually offers a few different options on the Seltos. Now, we've actually moved to an upgraded Turbo GDI SX Seltos model, and this has an upgraded engine in it. The base models and the EX that we were just looking at have a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine with 147 horsepower and a variable transmission that is supposed to shift ultra smooth. Now, that model gets a combined 29 mpg, but it doesn't have a ton of power. And that's why Kia also offers this engine with the Seltos, the 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. And this pumps out 175 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque for a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. Now, where the variable transmission, the IVT, can shift ultra smooth, this dual clutch can shift ultra fast. And that's going to give you a little bit of a performance boost when you're out on the highway and you want to pass somebody. Now, that does come at a bit of a loss, however. The combined MPG for the turbo model is just 27, which is 2 less than the base 2-liter model. And in terms of what wheels receive the power in the S model, it is front-wheel drive. In every other version of the Seltos, they get all-wheel drive. So in addition to the rugged off-roading styling on the exterior, we've also got that backed up with the technology in the drivetrain and that all-wheel drive system. But hey, that's enough chattering about technicals. Let's hop into the interior and check out some of the cool features we got going on in there. All right, now I fully admit I started this review out a little bit harsh, maybe a little bit tad negative about the exterior design of the Seltos. And I do stand by that to some degree. It is a little bit of a jagged design out there that I'm personally not a huge fan of the look. However, I think that's really balanced out by the interior design, because I actually am a huge fan of what Kia does with the interiors of their cars. They have a way of making things feel very comfortable, very homey, but also pretty luxurious as well, even in their base trims, the base trim Seltos, and up here in the upgraded SX Turbo model. They've got a great design going on in here, very ergonomic, very user-friendly, and I am a pretty big fan of it. Now, the base model is going to start out with just a full cloth interior, nice and comfortable, but not necessarily too sophisticated. That's where the upper trims come in. Starting on the EX model, and especially here in the SX model, there is a ton of nice leather all around. These perforated leather seats, there is a very smooth, soft leather-coated steering wheel and shift knob. Basically, all the places you're going to be touching regularly have that softer material, but they didn't feel the need to add it to the dashboard or anything like that, because you're not really going to be touching those areas that often, so why spend the extra money on leather up there? In addition to all that smooth leather, there is some gloss black around here. I'm not a huge fan of gloss black. It tends to get pretty dirty and gets fingerprints all over it, but I gotta admit, it does look pretty smooth and adds a nice contrast to these beautiful white seats. Now, speaking of the seats, I'd actually like to point out these are very, very comfortable. Compared to most of the other SUVs in this class, I'd say these are some of the most comfortable seats offered. Now, you're not going to get these in the base model. The base model only has 6-way manually adjustable seat. Here in the SX Turbo, and I believe in the EX model as well as the upper trims, it is 10-way power adjustable. So you can operate it with the controls here on the side of the seat and move around to make yourself as comfortable as possible. But even if it wasn't fully adjustable, just the material and the amount of cushion they added is perfect. It is very comfortable and cushiony, and I could definitely sit in here for long car trips. Now, in terms of some of the other features and more specifically the technologies Kia offers in the Seltos, there's a good amount of that as well. You can see there's a nice color screen up there on the gauge cluster, and there's also a standard 8-inch infotainment touchscreen up on the dashboard, and that comes with both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So no matter what type of phone you have, you'll be able to connect it with Bluetooth to the car and access a lot of the phone's features such as Google Maps and Spotify and whatever other apps you might use in the car. Those can all be accessed through the infotainment screen when you connect your phone up. So that's a really cool standard feature offered in the Seltos that we used to only see in higher end cars like BMWs and Mercedes. Now it's trickled down to, you know, more affordable cars like this Seltos, and I think that is really cool. There's also a 12-volt power outlet down here, as well as 2 USB charge ports. So you can plug your phone in here on the center console. There's a space for it where it won't slide around too much. You can charge it up while you're out on the go. There's also a very large drive mode selector right here, and this is going to allow you to cycle through some of the car's different settings in that infotainment system. So if it starts raining out, there is a mode where it's going to be a little bit more tuned to those conditions, or if you want to feel a little bit more sporty, a little bit more eco-friendly, there's a lot of different options in there, and it's going to adjust things like the way the pedal feels in the car, how hard it accelerates, and how good fuel economy it has. So that is a very nice feature to have conveniently placed right there at your fingertips near the gear selector. Now, in terms of storage, there is plenty of that as well. Some very spacious cup holders here, as well as a little drawer right here where you could fit the wireless key fob. In addition to that, underneath the armrest, which is, by the way, leather coated here in the SX, there's also another storage area that, while it might not be very wide or long, it is pretty deep. So you could fit a decent amount of stuff in there. Plus, obviously, there is some more storage on the door pockets and in the rear seat of the car, which we're actually going to hop back there and check that out right now. All right, so I've jumped back to the second row of the Kia Seltos. In the last row, this car actually seats 5 passengers, and that leaves a lot of space in the trunk. We're going to check that out in a minute. But as you can see, it's got some pretty nice features here. It's pretty well laid out with more technology features in the upgraded SX model we're in right now. A lot of these features you're not going to have in the base model. However, there is some nice leather with, again, those perforations that are going to help keep you cool and add a little bit of a cool styling element to the interior of the Seltos. But like I said, plenty of legroom, plenty of headroom, even for someone who's 6'2" like me. Very comfortable back here, almost as good as the front seat. I would totally be comfortable for long car trips in the rear seat of this car. We've got some more cool features back here. There is some air vents right here. I believe those are an upgrade offered in the upper trim levels like this SX, as well as a USB charge port and a little bit of a change drawer right there on the driver armrest. So you've got a little bit of cool stuff going on back here. Again, there's also some more storage. You've got a little bit of a net right here where you could keep some pamphlets or road maps if anybody still uses those. And there's also a bit of a cup holder here in the door panel, so your rear passengers can have something to drink as well. Now, another thing I'd like to point out is that these seat backs, rather than being leather, are a hard plastic. This is not because Kia went cheap on you. This is actually because it's a lot easier to clean this hard plastic. So if you've got kids who are going to be kicking the back of the seat, dumping their orange juice on it, you know, the orange juice they keep in the cup holder here, it's going to be so much easier to keep this clean. Now, the one final feature I'd like to point out here in the rear seat before we check out the trunk is these speakers. Now, there's a Bose speaker system here in the SX model, and it's got kind of a really cool, jagged, almost rock-like feature. Again, that's going to mirror the kind of jagged styling on the exterior that I wasn't a huge fan of, and it really gives the car a unique aspect to it. Kia is very good at doing unique. If you've seen their Soul model, I actually am a fan of that when I reviewed it last year. You can check that out right there. But this Bose system is going to offer premium sound quality and also a really cool off-road look in the interior. But finally, I promised we would take a look at the trunk, and as you can see, it's pretty spacious. It's got a nice felt cover that goes over it to protect your luggage from the sun, and it's got 26.6 cubic feet of cargo space back there, but that's before you fold the rear seats down, so you can get a ton of luggage, and the ultimate carrying capacity of this car is pretty big. So all around, the Kia Seltos, not a fantastic exterior, pretty good powertrain, but it really makes up for it here in the interior where we've got a lot of really nice features and options. If you're considering buying a Kia Seltos or other small/mid-size SUV like this car, definitely check out one of the videos on the screen right now or subscribe to the channel because I've reviewed a ton of cars similar to this that you might also want to consider. I'd also like to extend a special shout out and special thank you to Loki Kia here in Clearwater, Florida for providing me with this Seltos to review today. There'll be a link to their inventory in the description of this video. But as always guys, thank you so much for watching until the end of the video, and I'll see you next time.